Hey guys, Boy here, and this is things I've learned with Final Tribes Pablo's Lion in 7.13. This game is actually pretty funny. It starts with Radiant attempting a level 1 roach. That's pretty rare nowadays, so I'm surprised he even attempted to check it, so nicely done by him. A big underrated buff to Lion is the mana reduction on the stun. The benefit of a Lion when compared to a hero like Shadow Shaman that also has 2 disables at level 2 is the fact that you can attack while you disable the enemy with your 2 spells, and both of those heroes provide the same amount of lockdown at level 2, which is 4 seconds of lockdown. A Lion offers 80 damage while being able to attack, whereas Shadow Shaman offers 60 without being able to. Shadow Shaman also has less range on both skills, and at level 2 he has 435 mana and spends 250 to cast the combo, which means that without clarities he won't be able to use it twice. Lion on the other hand has 420 kappa and spends 200, being able to use it at least twice. My point being, Shadow Shaman is better when you have damage in lane, but Lion's an overall better support in lane that has more damage with less downtime, and on top of all, he has CM-like sustain abilities on his mana. Going back to the game. So first let's watch Lion in action during the laning stage. Radiant is dual laning and Pablo positions himself in the left side of the map. Note how he's out of aggro range from both melee and range creeps, and also note how he waits until both enemies align to get a double stun. During all of this, he's not drawing aggro, and notice how he walks as he attacks to deal as much damage as possible. That's first blood when they're against 2 super tanky heroes. And it doesn't end there. Since Earthspike has such low cooldown, he can go in again and pretty much zone Spirit Breaker out of the lane. If you take a look on the creep wave, you're going to see that it's even, but if Lion pulls, Troll will have problems, and as a support, what you have to say is, Troll, please push the lane aggressively so that the lack of creeps he will pull don't hurt Troll CS or HP. You can even see that he pings the lane. Lion's level 2 power spike is super strong. As I was comparing Shadow Shaman with Lion back in the day, you would see a lot of Lions getting mana drain at level 2 just because clarities get cancelled by anything, mana regen sucked, and Lion's mana pool was garbage. With the new changes, this hero can easily sustain the 1-1-0 build, and this pool puts him in that spot super quickly. Another thing that makes this pool viable is that Monkey King is a great zoner, so Pablo gets the juicy experience without being contested. Note that he pulls the creep wave there and goals help the Monkey King. People are way too obsessed with the gold from the camps, while at this stage experience is way more valuable. The level 2 guarantees him pretty much a kill on the Spirit Breaker that has to walk all the way back to the base, while the Radiant supports can get the bounty roots. He gets boots with the gold from the pool and TPs to help his friend here. You can see that he clicks outside of versus hero. Lion has been out of the meta for a while now, which means that maybe you don't know about this. The cast range from Earthspike is smaller than the full range of the stun, which means that you can cast the skill from max range and still hit other people. In this case, he tried to cast the skill outside of cast range to get Yersa, but failed unfortunately. Since Radiant decided to turn the fight around, you can see how this hero is strong. He melts the Dark Willow, and in fact he holds the skill until she casts Shadow Realm to try and save mana, but he gets the kill anyways. Since this hero has mana drain and he took mana away from Ursa, he actually has no mana for slow, and that's just another free kill. Mana drain is insanely spammable, and before the changes to Earthspike, if you got a max duration mana drain, you would be able to cast a second Earthspike. And since the mana cost decrease, it's way easier to have that skill ready. He brings himself a lot of items. Know that he actually gets a clarity so he doesn't spend too much time draining mana, because then he's like not doing much. He ends up fighting Spirit Breaker and a Clown Fiesta begins. Spirit Breaker is behind him, but he doesn't want to draw creep aggro, so he hides. But with Spirit Breaker fighting him, he gets attacked by the tower, and note how Pablo plays this. First of all, if he attacks or stuns, the Viper will be slowed by his passive. Also, Lion's hacks lasts for 2.5 seconds, which is way more than the stun at this level. So it's a lot of disable time. Also, Earthspike is an AoE skill, so he would much rather save that to hit both heroes, which he can't right now. He ends up only getting one at the end, but you can see the idea. He gets outside of creep aggro before mana draining, so he's not taking any damage. And slowing Viper, and while he falls, that's a double for his Abaddon, so that's pretty nice. He ends up TPing top, and pay attention how he uses the fog to approach the Underlord, and when he initiates, now that mana drain actually slows, he can Earthspike into mana drain and doesn't really need to commit the hacks because his Troll also offers low. so at the end of that engagement, he's full mana and HP. Just one of the many Lion perks in the early game. Since it's catapult time, it makes sense to ward this location so that his throw can push without fearing for his life against the Spirit Breaker rotation. In fact, that ward gives him vision of Underlord, and note how he gets out of the way. A lot of supports in a game like this will try to play bold and zone the Underlord, but the fact that he lets the Underlord go gives him the safety to go to the lane and maybe they can kill. Maybe they had a ward, but that's probably what he wanted to do. In fact, Spirit Breaker was charging his troll, and Pablo was a little greedy waiting for that rune, but he definitely makes up for it. Note how he doesn't stack skills after trolls load Spirit Breaker down, saving some mana. After all, charges on cooldown, so the Spirit Breaker has no place. And as he attacks towards the enemy, he gets a beautiful double air spike, getting 1 kill and sapping mana from the Underlord. He gets the second bounty and quickly moves mid. His hero is probably the most sustainable support in the early game right now. He rotates to help his OD, but Viper is a tough one, so he wards the high ground and waits. Thanks to that ward, they spot Spirit Breaker there, and that's another easy kill. While that happens, his Monkey King tries to solo kill a Viper, and Pablo tries to go for a crazy one. Places a ward to get an idea of the Viper positioning. Note how he checks the Tawaragu range and walks towards this direction to not get hit. He tries to wait the Viper to show up, but gets unlucky. Pretty crispy anyways. As he rotates from that lane to bottom, look what happens. Ursa dives a Baron, but Pablo grabs him here and Willow gets stuck. So he makes sure to mana drain her before taking her life. And with that rotation, he's level 6, and with a smoke, he fingers the Radiant mid hero, and this Lion's 4, 1, and 7, being literally a part of 95% of every dire kill. And the beauty of it all is that you literally never stop. A 5-star brewing top, and since Lion is mega fast and was able to get 2 bounties for getting those 2 kills, and then the Viper, he has 1.6k gold on top of Tranquils at 8 minutes. Monkey King ends up dying, and they overcommit for the Underlord kill, and I want you to pay attention to how Pablo plays this when Viper shows up. Viper TP's top when Pablo has literally 0 kills ready for at least 7 seconds. At this stage, having so much gold, dying would put this beautiful start to a halt, so he leaves his throw to die. It might make you feel bad, you might get pinged, but this is the right play, especially when you're that farmed. Since he lives, not only he gets closer and closer to Blink Dagger, he can set up a kill on the Underlord. Since he probably felt like Lion was by himself, he was being scouted by some Spirit Breaker illusions, and that was not the case, so he dies. Some old rivalries are relieved via all chat, while Pablo pretty much farms his Blink Dagger in that lane. The beautiful part of it is that not only he's farming his Blink Dagger, but with every creep wave he drains more mana, and he will be ready to fight without having to use shrines, clarities, or going back to base. In fact, he never went back until the time he died, and this is it, 10 minutes, Blink Dagger ready, level 8, you can't ask for much more. A lot of it was due to Radiant being super aggressive and Lion being actually great at fights, so he could fight back and get kills. Pretty good item decisions with the Tranquils, and that's pretty much it. Also note that he buys a TP here and not the Blink. He wants to push the lane first and get the Blink outside of vision later. In a way, I feel like he wastes his rotation. He saw his troll being dove and wanted to help, but after seeing him getting out scotch-free, he blinks in, and that was probably not the best idea since now Radiant knows about it, and it does hurt him a little bit in the mid game. Another interesting thing to mention is Lion's skill build. Hex as a disable scales very poorly. You get 2.5 seconds at level 1 and 3 seconds at level 2. That's like 10% increase, which sucks. Yes, the cooldown is reduced, but the mana cost increases, which means that most of the time having mana drain is better. Not only the scaling is off the charts, but in the early game, draining a lot of mana can make or break fights, since everyone doesn't have a lot of mana at this point. He ends up fighting the Willow here, but gets ope-frogged straight away. As he respawns, a fight brews in the mid lane, and note how Pablo plays. A lot of people seeing their friends being chased mid will jump straight into the low ground to stun and ult and whatever. But look what Pablo does, he walks towards Monkey King. He's not about to die, and that lures all the Radiant side towards a beautiful Ravage when he blinks in. He also perfectly right-clicks Willow, and only after Ursa pops his free swipes, he uses Hex. Unfortunately, a Baron was far away, but they get 2 before he falls, when maybe if he just jumps straight away without getting such a perfect stun, both Monkey King and him could be controlled and killed. With so many fights happening in the mid middle area when Lion respawns. Note how he wards beautifully, maybe even too beautifully, and he gets this area and this area done, which is kind of like 2 angles of Spirit Breaker initiation, so that's pretty good for predicting Radiant's movements. He also drops 2 sentries on both spots since the enemy Spirit Breaker could get into his booty, so it's always good to know if you're being charged or not. And when his Abaddon gets engaged, look how Pablo plays this. He's around, but he has no angle for a triple stun, and there's also no follow-up, so while that's a core, he wouldn't be able to save him and disengages instead. Unfortunately, more and more pickoffs were happening, and all of the dire advantages fades away. A 5-star top, and since he has no TP, he smokes to get there faster. Pay attention how he looks for the perfect Earth Spike, hitting 2 cores, bringing Viper down immediately, and then since Underlord is solo, he actually saves Finger for another target. Obviously not the Willow, since that would be dumb. And another thing to note on how Pablo uses his kills is how he prioritizes hacks when he finds solo heroes. For instance, in this fight mid, there was no angle for a multi-hero Earth Spike, so he hacks his Ursa to later double stuns him and Viper at the same time. Finger finally secures 1 kill, and thanks to being completely out of the fight, just notice his clicking patterns during this fight. He has Blink on cooldown to get another double stun, but unfortunately, the Uber was too fast. Spirit Breaker charges Pablo, and note how the fight develops. They slowly creep back onto the Radiant team, and he doesn't even bother jumping Dark Willow because she's most likely dead. By saving his Blink, he can engage onto the Spirit Breaker later, and that's a double. The beauty of this hero is that after such a long fight, thanks to the Tranquil Boots and Mana Drain, he is completely ready to fight again. Notice how he wanted to get a 2-man stun there, but with the Astro, his plans are put to a halt. A crazy fight starts happening here, with base dives at 19 minutes, and obviously Pablo doesn't want to be a part of that. Trying to dive will most certainly cost him his life, and he doesn't have enough mobility to actually be useful and not die. I do like that he uses that chaos taking place to ward this area. This ward is usually very hard to put, but he's not the center of attention at all, and this ward was not dewarded by a long time. As Dire disengages from that dive, note how he wards the spot since they are Roshing, which means that they can spot pretty much any rotation from the Radiant now, giving them quite the easy Rosh. As Lion stand at high ground to scout a smoke, he finds Ursa but disengages. They have no vision there and not enough follow-up. But don't let that trick you. This is one of the most rollercoaster games I've seen in a while. A couple of seconds afterwards, Abaddon finds 2 heroes, and as I mentioned, when he gets angles for 2 Earth Spikes, he ignores hacks initially and commits the Mana Drain on the Viper, which was pretty good, but Willow just destroys them with a clutch Terrorize. Also, Miss No Fox, if you're watching, I feel like this is your boyfriend or friend, I'm not really sure, but I do remember this name and I feel like it's related to you. Comment down below if that's true. In fact, Pablo buys back for this fight since they have Aegis, and he fears that Troll will die twice. A big part of this decision is making sure he has a TP and a structure to TP and react to this, which he does, and as he walks, note how he gets a beautiful Ravage, and with the Finger, that's an easy kill. The Hex guarantees another one, and they even force the Uber back to the base. After that, they smoke as a team, and I want you to pay attention to 2 things. They already have a hero in that lane, and the lane will naturally push. A lot of low MMR players, they just smoke as 5 the lanes push against them, and it's obviously harder to get any kills, even if you have wards. In this scenario, not only Pablo preemptly warded the Radiant jungle, they have 1 hero showing, which makes the rotation pretty smooth. With the vision though, they end up fighting some other heroes, and the Dark Willow just destroys their dreams. I feel like they really didn't want it to do this, but with the heroes showing up, they just changed their plans. So yeah. Dark Willow, guys. Afterwards, we see another pretty good fight by Pablo. Tro is mid and he's closing the gap to help him get a kill. Just 1 hero, so he commits hacks, and note that he got the 90 damage talent. Pretty good talent normally, but with Tro, it's even better. As Spirit Breaker engages, note how he gets out of the line of engagement, and he would like to get a double stun but has no angle, and they end up disengaging. He tries to cancel the charge into the throw, has no range, so he blinks towards the throw. Usually when you have one lone target, you do want to use Hex, but if you're sure that it will take some time until someone shows up, committing the Earth Spike is better since the cooldown and mana cost are lower. And that's what he does here. They get that kill, he Glimmer Capes away and tries to cover for the throw. You can see that this assessment was correct. The other Radiant heroes are sluggish and he already has another Earth Spike in case he needs to use it, and he does. He finds the low HP Ursa, and with a Hex onto him followed by a 2-mana Earth Spike later, they get the bear down quick and easy. Gets to full mana in seconds, and that's the life of a lion. I'm a big fan of him warding this area right now. After all, Spirit Breaker is down and he has Blink Glimmer Cape, so it's very unlikely that he'll be spotted. This is the good time for deep wards. Not at nighttime with everyone off the map, everyone alive, you know. With that ward giving him vision of that area and the other ward he placed earlier, he has the confidence to Glimmer Cape towards Viper, and thanks to the damage, talent and throw, he actually shreds that hero. Eventually, Dire tries to go high ground and once more they engage into a bad fight. And with that, Radiant tries to go high ground. And note how Pablo starts bottom. Radiant together is very scary to fight against, so he starts by taking the trash at the beginning, thanks to once again having sentries. Radiant gets the melee barracks though, which in my opinion was unavoidable, so at least he got the space cow. And with 2 heroes dead though, not only Pablo gives the cow for Dire to go Roche, he goes for the same play, warding the high ground area on this left jungle side of the map. He grabs himself a refresher shard, and with the Roshan ready, I really want you to pay attention to, in my opinion, is what wins them the game, or at least seals them the game. In a low MMR game, what would happen is that every single hero would be attacking the tier 2, and as they approach high ground, Lion would awkwardly try to ward the high ground at daytime. What Pablo does instead is smoke and ward that area, since it's very easy to spot the daytime. He gets engaged here, but thanks to the Apodic Shield can disengage, and you can clearly see that he wanted to get a 2-man Earth Spike, but fails. It's still a nice engage, he retreats. Notice how he uses the tree to stay out of vision. Doesn't find anything, goes even further back, then goes back to the trees, places sentries, and I really want you to pay attention how he does initiate the fight. His throw is way stronger and has a Blink Dagger, so after he goes in, Lion serves as counter initiation onto the Underlord, and when Ursa goes in, it's the OD that counters it all. Since everyone has each other's backs, this fight works perfectly. Lion gets a beautiful Earth Spike finger, and they pretty much win the game here. Well, this wraps up for today, guys. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up. I don't really understand people. I've been making support videos every week for like maybe 5 weeks, and people still comment on my core videos saying like, you just make core videos. But I'm like, I'm making one off lane, one mid, one safe lane, and one support every week. So here it is. Trying to get some unknown players. So Pablo is a player that really caught my eye in some games that I casted. This video is sponsored by Pvgna. They have a huge library of videos from tutorials to how to fight, how to farm, how to roam. They have a lot of stuff there, so check it out. I'm pretty sure if you take our time, we're going to increase your MMR tenfold. Want to know what's happening with my life? Follow me on Twitter. Want to watch me play some Dots or some crispy casts? Follow me on Twitch. If you want some spoilers on what I'm doing, Instagram is the way to go. And if you just want to talk and interact with people that care about Dota and care about your crispy boy, our Discord channel is right here. Thanks everyone, bye.